Absolute madness. I have no idea what happened there. I had to restart the stream. Can you hear me okay now? Um, Technical glitch. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, cool. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna carry on. Okay, so so basically, um, where are we? Okay, so the obvious choice would for me and probably for Liverpool, if I'm honest, is if Mo does leave because we got this ultimatum on his contract, and also um, with the Olympics coming up, and the fact that he's only got 1 year left on his contract, um, Rodrigo would be the perfect replacement. He plays on the right. Um, he'll cost a lot of money, but we've got plenty of money. Um, the PSR and the FVP has basically shown that we've got about 198 million that we can spend before the end of the window, which means we've got plenty of cash. We're obviously looking at, about 83 million in sales with some of the players that we've listed, and that's not even including Diaz, and especially Mo. So if we sold Mo to Saudi, we get 100 million for him. Well, you could just buy Rodrigo with that, and there's your ready-made replacement. Like, the guy scored over 100 goals for Real Madrid. Like, he's been quite possibly their best player for the last year. Um, and he's about to get shifted onto the substitute bench, with the likes of Mbappe and Endrick coming in. So he's going to fall down the pecking order, which is not fair really on him. Um, stage of making everything a bit happy. It's Barcelona club and the system. It's only the ones lose. There hasn't been anything that we would get rid of. Williams has not said he wants to be that's true. Bilbao. He's not said he wants to leave. He's come from. I'm just going to normal phone. Right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me okay now? Let me know. Does that sound better? If that sounds better, let me know. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I'm just on my normal microphone on the computer. So you might hear background noise. Apologies. So yeah, Nico Williams has not said he wants to leave. So it's a lot of clubs that are just kind of looking at him. But Barcelona do want him. And it's actual Deco that wants Diaz. Diaz has not said he wants to leave. We haven't indicated that we're going to get rid of him. I think that's one that's probably going to rumble on. It's his dad that's kind of talking. It's not really him. I don't know how that one pans out. Personally, I'd probably sell him. You'd probably get 60 million for him. It's a good deal. I don't think his end product's enough. Even for Colombia, you know, no assists, no goals. Like again, it is what it is. He's a good option to have. He's on cheap wages. For me, I'd probably move him on. This one I did want to touch on. If you did watch the Holland game, like, was Virgil van Dijk really at fault? Like, everyone's on his case now, saying he had a poor game. I mean, the guy literally ran from through the entire midfield into the box with nobody tracking him. Is that Virgil van Dijk's fault? He's not even on the same side. Like, he's on the left-hand side. I don't know. For me, I just thought Austria were just a better team. They have more chances. You know, Cody Gakpo played well, scored 2 goals now. Looks good. Looks like a good left winger for us. I just don't think he worked in a left winger side of a 4-3-3, which is Jurgen's tactics or Pep and Linda's tactics, whatever you want to call it. I think he'll be better under slot when he's got a 10 in the middle as well. I totally agree. I think Dutch players are massively overrated. Like, I don't think they're a good team. Like, so why do we always want these Dutch players? I don't rate them highly. I really don't. I agree. Next up, going to talk about this guy. Looks like this guy's going to be available for about 50 million. Let me know what you think, whether you think he'd be a good player for Liverpool. He's going to leave PSG. That's a fact. I think he's the destroyer we need. I think there's maybe 3 players that could probably do that job for Liverpool. One of them's Edison, one of them's Ugarte, and the other one I think is probably Fofana. And I think they're all gettable for about 50 million, all of them.
For me, if Agarthe doesn't tackle a player in like 5 minutes of being on the pitch, I think he takes out one of his own men. I just think he's a monster. He struggled because of the system, I think. But Manchester United looking at him, he goes to Manchester United. I think he's going to be a star, and it would annoy me. I think it really helped Darwin as well. I don't disagree. We could get him on loan. When do we ever get loan players though? It's not a team that does that. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. Like, I don't know why we can't just loan a player with like an option to buy. Like, and you've got that flexibility and you've got that risk prevention, haven't you? Of being able to get a player and then if it doesn't work out, you can go back. You're not stuck with him. It's an interesting one. But Garth is definitely available. I'm not going to talk about that. There's no point. This one. So this one's interesting. If you didn't know, Alex McCarthy, who we've been linked with heavily as our third choice goalkeeper, is actually agreeing a new deal with Southampton. So I don't think this one is going to happen now. I thought I'd just let you know that McCarthy, we can kind of scratch that one off. So yeah, we have lost Adrian. Yeah, he's gone. Queven still up in the air. He's got a for sale price. It's at 40 million. I think we're kind of pricing him out of the move, if I'm honest, but that's fine because we keep him. And we've also had some loan offers for another under 21 goalkeeper, which we've rejected. Moraz, who's another Polish under 21 keeper. We've got from Portugal. We rejected those loans, so maybe he's going to be third choice. Interesting. Also, gonna bit of info on this one. In case you didn't know, we've got an £8 million price tag on Nat Phillips, and it looks like Leeds are interested in him. Now, an interesting thing with Leeds is we're obviously being linked with Asensio Somerville, and we've also been linked with Archie Gray. Maybe we could use Nat Phillips as a bargaining chip to get Archie Gray or Asensio Somerville. Obviously, Brighton are looking at Somerville as well. Personally, I just want us to stay away from Dutch players, if I'm honest. Like, we've got a Dutch manager, we've got a Dutch captain, we've got a Dutch midfielder who's garbage, we've got a Dutch central defender who wants to leave the club in Van der Ven. Not Van der Ven. I can't remember his name now. He wants to leave. Van der Berg, Sepp, and Virgil's agents are meeting Saudi people in Turkey, apparently. So, is it going really that well with the Dutch contingency? Probably not. So, do we want to get any more? I don't think so. So, I'd be happy with Archie Gray. I think he'd be great. I also think he's right back cover as well. He can play anywhere in midfield as well. He's still young. You can still teach him a lot. He's been good for Leeds, and he's probably available for about 25 million because they need to sell. So, there's an option there. Anyway, I think that'll go definitely. Just going to talk a little bit about Trent. So Trent's been used as a scapegoat for me. All the media have been on him. If you look at the latest article that was posted on him, which was basically England not doing well, and then they used a picture of Trent, who'd been on the pitch for about 6 minutes. Like literally, Trent played about 8 minutes of the last game. You cannot blame Trent for any of that. Like, we were garbage. Like, that's not Trent's fault. Like, Trent came on and we had 3 chances and a shot. Like, so if anything, Trent probably changed the game to a certain extent. But yeah, you can't blame Trent for that. He got used as a right back, but then he ended up in midfield doing some weird stuff. I really don't know how I feel about him. I've got real reservations about him coming back into Slot's team. Slot's going to have to, like, literally settle him down and go, look, you're a right back or you're a midfielder. You're not both. You've got to do one or the other. If you're going to be a right back, you're going to have to defend. If you're going to be a midfielder, you're going to have to defend. And if you don't defend, then we're just going to sell you. And the problem I've got is we're in the same boat with Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Trent. They've all got 1 year left on their contracts. And if something doesn't get sorted by the end of July or September, then we're going to have to make decisions about selling them, because the club's made it clear that we're not letting anyone go into the last 12 months of their contract. Then if they haven't signed, they're sold. That's how it works. For me, I think he's flirting with Real Madrid now. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract. I don't. I personally think as well that the media are probably going to drive him out of the country, because he's going to be used as the scapegoat for England, and it's not his fault. I blame Pep Linders, and I blame Gareth Southgate, and I blame Jurgen Klopp for what's happened to Trent. I blame all of those, because he's been given the rope to hang himself. He's been given the noose. Like, they've literally let him do what he wants, and he's got himself into a situation where he literally thinks he can walk on water. Like, he thinks he is the best thing, and he certainly isn't. And he thinks he's exempt doing things that you're supposed to do in a game, like tackle and chase people and track back and just do the things that the team do. Like that's the problem. If you're not a team player, then you're not in my team. And for me, he's not in my team. Like, I play Bradley ahead of him all day long, because Bradley's going to track back. Bradley's going to get a sweat on. He's going to tackle a man. Trent's not going to do it. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But, we might have to sell some of these big players. And it's certainly not what we expected. But the club's been run by clowns for the last 4 years. And we've allowed these 3 players, who are our biggest assets, all to get their contracts end at the last minute, which is next year. And we've allowed that, and we haven't renewed them earlier. Like, why haven't we renewed these contracts 2 years ago? Like, why have we let them carry on for so long? It's poor management. Poor management. The club's being run by people that aren't qualified to do what they've been doing. That's just the facts. It's just the facts. Like, you can already see, since Edwards and Hughes have been in, we've already got new coaches. We've got players who are now getting loaned out. We've got transfer fees on players. Like, people know where they stand. We've got new contracts. We've got Adidas now getting signed as a new shirt sponsor. We've now got a new airline company as a new sponsor. Like, all of these things are now getting sorted out. But all of this just got dumped on Hughes day one. Like, it was just like everything was just left to fester. And then it's like, oh, we got a new guy. Here you go, mate. Day one, get all that sorted. How the hell are you supposed to sort Trent, Virgil and Salah all on new contracts under completely new management at the club? Like, you've literally got to convince them that the new management are going to be good, and they've got no experience whatsoever yet because they haven't played for them yet. Like, that's the hard sell. That's a real hard sell. And for me, I don't see Trent, Salah, or Virgil staying. I just don't. Like, nothing's happened. Like, nothing's happened, and agents are talking, and rumours are out there, and Real Madrid are hanging around, and Trent's doing celebrations like this with his best mate who plays for Real Madrid, and they need a right back. It's interesting. Anyway, little rant over. Next up, we're going to talk about this one, which I think is very interesting. In case you didn't know, Bologna are looking at Sepp van der Berg as the Calafiori replacement. Isn't that interesting? Maybe there's a swap to be done. Maybe there's something we can sort out there. Maybe that's a bargaining chip that Hughes has got. Because guess what? Hughes has got all the info on Calafiori because he tried to sign him for Bournemouth. I'm telling you, day one, on the phone to Slot. Slot's gone, you know what? I could really do with someone on the left. I don't think Tsimikas and Robbo are going to be good enough. I need a left-sided centre-back who can play left-back as well. I need someone who can tuck into my system. Hughes is like, okay, well, I've got some brilliant data. And he's like, okay, who are you thinking about then? And he goes, well, there's a guy called Calafiore. He's an Italian international. He's going to the Euros. He had a fantastic season with Bologna. Why don't you have a look at him? Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll check out some info on him. All he has to do is watch the Italian games. And he can sit there and go, yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy. 42 million. That's what he's available for. And the problem is Juventus can't afford it because they're paying 50 million for the lad from Aston Villa, Douglas Luiz. They've got to sell. They haven't got the money. They've got to sell some players. Got to sell some players to be able to afford him. And the owner of Bologna does not want to let him go to Juventus because they stole their prized asset, which was their manager, who got them into the Champions League. And for me, Sepp van der Berg will jump at the chance to play for Bologna. They're in the Champions League. They're a decent team. He's a good player. He'd fit in nicely into that team. Personally, I think there's a deal to be done there. And there's no smoke without fire. And you look at the data, Edwards and Hughes will be all over that. I think that's one to look at. I wouldn't be surprised if Ornstein might be talking about him in a couple of weeks. Anyway, next up, we're going to look at that's green frozen. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're going to look at Joshua Kimmich, who's now linked with Liverpool. I'm not sure what the screen is. So Arsenal and Liverpool are linked with Kimmich. It's an interesting one because Florian Plettenberg has said that the Vincent Company is looking at. Oh, it's frozen again. Yeah, so Vincent Company is looking at Paulinia from Fulham, which means that Joshua Kimmich would be available. For me, the only way I'm getting Kimmich, I'm going to close this. It's doing my head in. Sorry about this. The only thing I'm going to go for Kimmich is sorry, I'm not interested in Kimmich. He's on like 200, and I think it's like 220 grand a week, and he's 29, and he's not a great defensive midfielder, and he's not played great in midfield. And the fact is, if Bayern Munich are willing to let him go, then there's a reason why, because he's obviously not been fantastic for Bayern Munich recently. So they're happy to let him go, and they're looking at Paulinia as a replacement, which kind of makes sense. So kind of where it sits with Kimmich. I just don't think we're going to sign another 29-year-old from Bayern Munich. The last one was a disaster in Thiago. I don't think we're going to do it. I'm just going to close some screens. I also wanted to talk about this. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. So you'll probably see this come up. I just think it's a joke. I really do. Just don't listen to it. It's just bull crap. Like, if you really think that Gravenberch is going to be our DM next year, then you're on cuckoo land. It's just not going to happen. We're going to sign a defensive midfielder or a defensive-minded midfielder. We're going to sign one. Stefan Bajcetic will probably go out on loan, and Gravenberch will probably play as the number 10, the second number 10, or the third number 8. Like, he's not going to be 6 for Liverpool. So any stuff you hear is just bull crap. Absolute bull crap. I'm going to talk about this as well, which is Mo Salah with the Olympics. Just so we got the dates. It's obviously being talked about. And if you look at the dates, the tournament starts on July the 24th, which is way after the Euros, and is like in between our, and it's in between our pre-season. So Mo's going to be playing during our pre-season, and then he's going to need a rest when we start the season. So we're going to have another season where we miss Mo for chunks of it because of the Olympics. I just think we should turn around and say no. Like, I think we should turn around and say to Mo, just can you just retire from the Egypt international team? You're never gonna win the World Cup. Like, you're never gonna win the bloody AFCON anymore. You haven't got any good players. Like, you're their best player. Like, it's a bit of a joke now. Like, so yeah, I just ask him to stop, if I'm honest. What else have we got? I've got some other stuff as well, sorry. Talked about Trent. Talked about Mo. Talked about Sepp van der Berg as a Calafiori replacement. Talked about Tyler Morton. So Tyler Morton is attracting interest from Leipzig. So apparently we've had a bid. So apparently we've had a bid from Leipzig, which was a loan with an option to buy. For, I think it was 18 million. and we've rejected it because we want to sell him. We don't want to loan him out anymore. So I think that's an interesting one. So I do think Leipzig might be the one for him. Think about it though, and this is something I'm going to mention as for a player. Does he get in the Leipzig team? So is he going to a team where he's not actually going to play? Because personally, I don't think he gets into a Leipzig team. So why would you want to go there? Like, why would you want to go to Leipzig when you're not going to play? Like, that's the issue I've got. There's other teams he's linked with. Oh God, what's going on with my freaking screen? Yeah, so there's other teams that he's linked with. He's obviously linked with Seville. He's probably got a better chance of getting in their team than Leipzig, if you ask me. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. I don't think it's a good move for him, if I'm honest. I'm also going to talk about this guy next. This one's interesting because Nottingham Forest need to sort out their PSR issues. And I think we could get Murillo under 40 million. I mean, he's valued at 40 million, but I think we could probably get him for like 25. I don't know how you feel about him. Like, I think he's a good ball playing defender. Obviously, Nottingham Forest nearly got relegated with him as their centre back, so you haven't really got a good sample size where you can say, "Oh yeah, he's great." I don't really know. Like that one's interesting. I mean, Morgan Gibbs White is another player that's definitely has definitely got talent and is available. He's 23 years old. I think he scored like 10 goals last season for them. He's a good player. I mean, if you're going to pick between him and Eze, I'd probably have him because he's less injury prone. He's younger. Eze's probably going to cost 60 million when Gibbs might cost 30. Like, they might take a loss on him because they need to sell some players. It's an interesting one. Like, we might even be able to like maybe throw in Queven Keller and get him because they're looking at Queven Keller as a goalkeeper. You know, a Brazilian centre back, not bad. Like, he cost them like 8 million, I think. Like, if we got him for like 25, they make a lot of profit, and they sort out their FFP issues, which I think they were a bit hard done by anyway, if I'm honest. Like, they tried to sell their player to settle the books. Like, they tried to sell him, but he didn't want to leave because he wanted to wait for Tottenham, unfortunately. So they had to wait another year, and that's when they got stung. For me, does 25 million sound like a good deal for Murillo? He's a good player. I mean, what about Danilo? Would you rather have him? Like, I think he's brilliant. Like, go for both. Go for both Brazilians, Murillo and Danilo, like for 40 million. Like, take it or leave it. Like, sort out your FFP. There you go. One big lump sum. I think Danilo can play DM, can't he? He's a bit of a monster. Like, I'd take both. Seriously, I'd take both of them. That's obviously one I wanted to talk about. Also wanted to cover this. Where is it? Obviously we've been linked with Eze, so I thought I'd cover Eze again. So it looks like there's a number of teams which are looking at Eze. It also looks like Crystal Palace have contingency plans for all of them. So if they all get sold, and we're not just talking Eze, we're talking Elise, we're talking Eze, we're talking Wharton, we're talking Gahey, we're talking Anderson, we're talking Mitchell. All of these players have links to be sold, all of them. And Crystal Palace are aware of that. And Glasner's been told, if any of them go, you can pick replacements. And they'll all be sold for huge fees. They're making pure profit. There's a number of players that Crystal Palace are looking at to replace them. If Eze goes, they're probably going to go for another guy. And they're looking at a lot of players in France as well, and they're also looking at players in the lower leagues and also Germany. They're doing good business. Like, they've literally just got a Barcelona player, and they've just got a Japanese player that we wanted for like 25 million. They got him on a free. Like, they're doing good business. Palace, they have good scouts. They do good business. I don't know about Eze. I think 60 million for a player that we probably don't need is a bit rich, unless we play him on the wing. But do you want to see Eze as a winger? Is he going to be on the right side or on the left side? And if you play him as a 10, then are you then not going to play McAllister there, or you're not going to play Dominic Spolsai there? I don't know. It's an interesting one. He's a good player. 60 million? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the chat. Obviously, these are the numbers around another guy which has kind of popped up out of nowhere, which is the Zirkzee, Joshua Zirkzee. It seems like everyone from Bologna is linked to leaving Bologna, which is a shame, because they just got in the Champions League. So why would you want to leave? But he's been linked to Liverpool recently, 32 million, with a 12 million pound commission to his agent, which is mental. Which is the reason why the AC Milan transfer is being held up, because they don't want to pay the agent 12 million. So Zirkzee's been linked, and he's also linked with Man United. I don't really know. He's another Dutch player that I'm not interested in. He's not even playing for Holland, you're right. But he had a good season. Thought I'd mention it. Also going to cover this one. Fabio Carvalho. I'm just going to close a couple of screens. This one. Can you see my screen? Yeah, you can. Cool. So Carvalho. So he thinks he's got a chance of getting back into the team. But apparently we're also looking at Ademola Lookman, which I don't think that's true. Chelsea and Manchester United are also looking at him. I just don't think so. There's a £51 million release clause on him. So Carvalho's attracting interest from Premier League clubs, Germany, France, Spain, and also Tyler Morton, which is interesting because they both had decent loans, and we're both going to get rid of Morton and Carvalho for good money. we'd be looking at maybe 40 million for those two. I think that's great. I think that's a great bit of business. Like we signed one of them for like 6 million, and the other one was out of our academy. I think that's really good business. If they're not gonna get into the team, like, and they're not, like, I can't see who they're gonna displace. You've got players like Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott who can't even get into the team when the team's got a full roster, and also the likes of Gravenberch. Like, if those guys can't get into the team, then where does Fabio and the likes of Morton go? Because they're not going to be able to get in. So we might as well make a profit on them and use the money to invest into the squad that we need players for, which is, for me, left back, left centre back, and defensive midfield. Also, an interesting one around money, which I'll bring up. Yeah, so Liverpool have obviously updated our finances, and it looks like we've got 173 million transfer kitty this season without player sales, which I think's a good amount of money. I mean, I think that's going to get us who we need. It may get us that marquee signing, Kvaratskhelia. He's going to cost like 80 million if we're looking at him, or Rodrigo. He's going to cost 100 million. That's going to take up a huge chunk. If we are looking to improve the attack, that's going to be the most expensive part of the team. I can obviously see people naming players that they want. Kimmich is 29, and he's a right back. Like, I don't think so. I think 80. I think 80 would get him. I think Rodrigo we could get for less, and the reason why I say that is because Real Madrid need to get a centre back and a right back, and they're haggling over the Lenny Yoro money because they want to get Lenny Yoro for, I think it's 35 million, and he's obviously rated at 60 million. And I think they're trying to do what they did with Camavinga, where they're basically telling everyone that he wants to come to them, so then they don't bother even putting a bid in. And Liverpool are waiting. They're just sat there just in case anything happens. Like, if anything happens, then we might step in. And he might have said, look, I really want to go to Real Madrid, but if Real Madrid don't want me, then I'll definitely look at other options. And that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. He's keeping his options open. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's being told he can leave. And also Jonathan David as well. He's been linked with a move away from that club as well. Both players being told they can go. They've got 1 year left. Would you look at Jonathan David? Like, he's never injured. His numbers are good. Like, he's a good player. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can play up front. I think that's an interesting option as well. Like, I don't know why we've never really explored that. But yeah, there's Jonathan David, and there's obviously Lenny Yoro from that club. But I think David will end up in Germany. I don't know why. I just feel like he'll end up in Germany, or he'll end up in a lower Premier League side, like maybe even a Brentford if they get rid of Tony. Obviously Tony's being mentioned now. He's available for 80 million. I think that's a ridiculous amount of money. He's only got 1 year left on his contract as well. Like he's going to leave on a free if they don't get rid of him. Obviously, Arsenal are linked with absolutely everybody. I don't think they'll sign anyone. To be fair, I think they need a right back. Sorry, not a right back, a left back. I think they really need a left back. I think they struggle to find someone to fit that position. I didn't think Zinchenko was good enough. I didn't think Kivior was good, and he's been poor in the Euros. So is Zinchenko. And I certainly don't think Tomiyasu's a good enough player to play there. And I don't know whether they signed the Dutch lad to play there, but he got injured. It's an interesting one. I think the Edison deal, I think that's done, if I'm honest, because it's gone quiet, like literally quiet. Nobody's talking about Edison anymore. He's not in the news. He's not in any of the links. Nobody's talking about him. And also, no one's talking about Timo Cooper-Mears. Like, Timo Cooper-Mears is now off the market. So, I think Edison could be done, if I'm honest. Well, there's also a couple of other clubs that are looking at Edison now. But if we've gone and done that deal, then that explains why no one's talking about him. And it also explains why Cooper-Mears isn't being linked with anyone now. I know Edison's at the Copa America, but the deal could have been done before he went to Copa America, because there was stuff in the news saying that we were looking at Edison. And there was also a lot of information saying that Edison was interested in a move. So, I think when stuff goes quiet, it's a telltale sign that something might be happening. Yeah. I've just kind of covered that as well. I think the treatment of Liverpool players has been appalling by the media. It's a real telltale sign that there's just an agenda against Liverpool players. I just think there's a huge agenda against Liverpool players. Like just look at the way Trent was used as a scapegoat throughout the Euros. Like, he's the one that's created the most chances. He's the one that's had the most shots. He's the one that's probably had the best pass ratio for England. And he's the problem. Like, you took him off, brought a guy on, he was garbage. You then played him again, after saying that he was an experiment that didn't work. How do you know it's an experiment that didn't work? Because you haven't finished your experiment. Like, you're still doing it. Like, you're still playing him. You're still playing a guy to do his job as well. So you brought him back in, then took him off again, then played the other guy again, and he was garbage, and then brought him in for the next game, and then subbed him at halftime because he was garbage. And now we're all thinking Kobbie Mainoo's going to be the saviour. Kobbie Mainoo's not going to be the saviour. The only thing that's going to save us as England is if we just defend really well, because we certainly aren't going to do anything up front. Because Harry Kane is going to carry on playing, and Saka is going to carry on playing, and Saka needs a runner past him because he's looking for him. He's like, "Where's my guy? Where's my decoy so I can cut in? Where's my decoy so I can make a move into the box?" And he's got no decoy because the right back won't move into the other person's half. Like, honestly, the left backs and the right backs of all the teams we play are just going to sit. They're just going to sit, and they're going to push right against our players because we're not going to have any runners in behind. I don't really care. Like, I went on G's show and N's show and talked about it. Like, if we win every game 1-0 or penalties and we win the Euros, great. That's brilliant. We won a trophy. Like, we won a trophy since 1966. Well done, England. Like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Like, just like Southgate is what it is. Like, it is what it is. Like, I just don't like the way Liverpool players are being treated. I don't like the way Virgil van Dijk's being treated. I don't like the way Dominic Szoboszlai's being treated. I don't like the way Darwin Núñez is being treated. I don't like the way Cody Gakpo's being treated. Like, all these guys are being treated badly. Like, Dominic Szoboszlai's probably been the best player for Hungary. Like, all the rest of their team are garbage. Like, their forward has had so many chances put on a plate by Szoboszlai, and he just can't score. Like, that's not Dom's fault. Like, Dom was the guy that put the ball through for their guys to score the equaliser, which put them through to the next round. Like, Dom started that move. Dom looks injured. Dom's the youngest captain in the Euros ever. Like, put enough pressure on the guy's plate. Like, put enough pressure on him, and then just start saying he's crap. When Hungary are through to the next round, they're through to the knockouts. He's clearly not crap because he got them through. Like, he was the assist. He was the pass through. Like, like, Gakpo scored 2 goals in 3 games. Like, he's garbage. Virgil van Dijk is garbage. No, he's not garbage. The guy next to him is absolute tonk. And the fact that they've got no midfield that's any good, like, all their midfielders are injured. The big ones. Like, if they had Cooper Mears and De Jong, do you really think the other guys, Rangers and Vermeeren, would be playing in their midfield? Not a chance. No way. So they're missing half their squad for me, which is the reason why they're not as great. Grandbitch can't even get on the pitch. Like, they've got a manager that's a bit like Southgate. He's really, really boring. I don't like watching them play. Yeah, Matt Weathers is injured as well. There's their 3 best midfielders all out. Like, De Jong walks into that midfield, and Cooper Mears walks into that midfield and completely changes the way Holland play. But they haven't got them. Is what it is. Interesting one as well is the South American lads. Like, Darwin Núñez scored a brilliant goal, and he's being called all sorts, like, on social media. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. Like, just let him play. Let's let him play Copa America. Like, Uruguay got a good chance of winning it. They've got a good chance of winning it. Like, he's scoring goals. He scored 10 goals in 6 games. He's on fire for Uruguay. Let him bring that back to Liverpool, and let's see how we get on. Because I can tell you now that Slot won't be getting him doing all of the garbage that Jurgen wanted him to do. Slot will be just saying to him, you just focus on this patch of grass, and when the ball's in there, you go and get it and you score. Don't worry about left, don't worry about right, don't worry about tracking back. You do your job. Make those runs, don't make too many of them, and score your goals. And Darwin will be fine. Darwin will be fine. And then you got the likes of Jota to come in and do that. And everyone having a go at Jota. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, Jota got injured because somebody fell on him. Like, a guy fell from the sky and landed on his knee. That's not Jota's fault. Like, everybody's kicking off on Jota. Like, Jota's done nothing wrong apart from being in the area where a guy fell on him. And before that, the Arsenal guy kicked his foot off. If you remember correctly, he got his foot booted off with a horrible tackle. Like, horrible tackle that put him out. Like, Jota has had 2 unfortunate injuries. And the other one, he got brought back too early. And we know he did. We know he was brought back too early and he got re-injured. We just need to manage Jota better. When Jota plays for Portugal, Portugal look threatening. Like, they were getting beat 2-0. Jota came on. They had loads of chances. They had loads of chances to get back into that game against Georgia. Jota is a threat. Jota will be fine. We don't need to sell him. We keep him. He'll be great next season. We just need to manage his game time. We don't need to play him all the time. And Diaz, I don't know about Diaz. Like I'm not a fan of Diaz. Like, and I've made that known. There's a couple of players I want out of Liverpool. I want Andy Robinson out. I want Tsimikas out because I think Tsimikas just needs a career. I want Diaz out, and I want Gravenberch out. Like, I'm not a fan of any of those players. For me, I'm more than happy to have Joe Gomez as the left back next season. If we don't sign anyone, more than happy. If you think about it, Joe Gomez was the best English left back in the Premier League last season, and he can't get in the England team when the left back for England is garbage in Trippier. He's garbage. He's garbage. He does absolutely nothing. He offers nothing going forwards. He looks out of position all the time. He's garbage. Like, for me, you just play Gomez. And at least with Gomez, you've got a centre back there as well, which means you can move into a back three and then you can push Walker higher up, or you can even push John Stones into midfield like he plays for Manchester City. Like, honestly, like I don't think he has. I don't think he has. Like, I don't think he has. I really don't. Like, I don't think he's got bozo genes. I don't. I just, like, can you name many players that can play in all positions on the pitch in defence and look comfortable? All of them. There's not many players you can play. So can you move Virgil onto the left as a left back? Can you move Canate onto a right back? Can you move Trent into the centre? Like, that's just a little bit of our team. Gomez plays everywhere and plays really well. Really well. Like, for me, Joe Gomez should be starting as a main centre back in the England team. Like, I think he's better than Guehi. He's better than Conser. He's not better than John Stones, but I think he's probably the third best centre back for England. He's better than Lewis Dunk all day long. Like, he's better than Trippier. You know, Joe Gomez starts. Like, I think he's absolutely brilliant. Like, I think he had a brilliant season. Like, I put him down as our third best player last season. Third best player last season behind the likes of McAllister and Virgil. Like, so you got Mac, Virgil, and then you've got Gomez for me. Like, I really think he was brilliant. I do. Like, I think he was sensational. Didn't make many mistakes at all. Like, what we seem to have with Gomez is he had a bad game. Like, he has bad games, but they're very isolated. Like, he had a really bad game against Brighton. The whole team did, by the way. And he had a really bad game against Napoli. The whole team did, by the way. But all you remember is Gomez. All you remember is Gomez. That's all you remember. Just remember Gomez being skinned constantly by Kvaratskhelia and put him on toast, like against Napoli when we got beat 4-1. And he obviously had a bad game against Brighton when we got beat 3-1, where Matoma put him on toast as well. Matoma puts a lot of players on toast. Kvaratskhelia puts a lot of players on toast. Like, whether it's Gomez or not. Like, for me, I think he's fine. I think he'll be in the team next season. I think he'll be our third choice centre back. I also think that Canate is a bit of an issue for me. Like, Canate's not played for France. He was sick. Someone came in to take his place. I don't think he's going to get his place back. So I think he's done. I don't think he's going to play at all in the Euros. Unfortunately, I don't think Gravenberch is going to play in the Euros now. So I think he's done. I don't think Gomez is going to get a game. I think he's done. There's a couple of players for Liverpool who are just not going to play in the Euros now. You're now coming to the knockouts where all the main players need to play, really. Next season, I think it's going to be interesting with Slot. I think he's probably going to get rid of a few players. Like when we get our team back, I think he's going to assess a few, but I think he's probably going to be told by the likes of Hughes and Edwards, look, these guys, we're gonna sell these on. Like we don't see a future for these. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that are probably going to move on loan. Like I think Besetti should probably go on loan. I think Doak should go on loan. I think the likes of Bobby Clark should go on loan. McConnell should go on loan. I think Jaden Dan should probably go on loan as well. If I'm honest, if we're looking at another forward, and if we don't get rid of Diaz, then you're sat with another 5. You know, you're sat with Salah, Jota, Gakpo, Diaz, Nunez. Dan's isn't got a hope in hell of getting anywhere near that team, so you probably send him on loan as well. And I think a lot of these guys could be on loan to good teams. Like they played in the Premier League, they played in cup finals. Like they should be getting championship teams at least. Like I don't want to be sending these guys off to Scotland. Like, can we just stop doing that? I think Owen Beck will probably go. I think he'll probably get sold. If I'm honest, there's a couple of other players. Sepp van der Berg, he'll get sold. Nat Phillips will go. Reece Williams will go. I know there's 2 players have missed out. Luke Chambers, I think Luke Chambers might stay around. I think that's an interesting one with Luke Chambers, but he could go on loan as well. Obviously, Ramsey's on loan, gone on loan. It's an interesting one, but it's interesting to see that we're now looking at, well, you know, Morton, yeah, he's got a price now. Carvalho, yeah, he's got a price now. Queven Kelly's got a price now. You know, Sepp van der Berg, he's got a price on him. You know, we're starting to price these players. Like, this is how much we want now. Like, everything's over 20 million, which is right. Get rid of the fat. There's a lot of players that are in the squad that just aren't going to get in the team. So we should start moving them on. I think Shimaka's has now got a price on him for 20 million, 25 million, I think. I think we're probably going to have to look at Andy Robinson. Like, for me, he can't play centre back. Can't play centre back, and he's not a defensive player. So he's not going to fit in a slot system. He wants his right guy to invert and come into midfield, and he wants his left guy, left back, to move into central defence. Like, that's how he plays. Watch his team play. I think that's all I've got for today. Apologies about the feed. I'll do another show in a couple of days. I don't know why the audio was all over the place, but if you haven't liked, subscribe, please do. Appreciate it. You can also check me out on Jamie Phillips and also Ensman or GTV or Monts and Quaz as well. And check out all those people as well if you haven't, and subscribe to all of them. All good lads, all great content, and also Jerry James as well, and GTV. You have a great day, and hopefully next time I'm talking, we'd have qualified for the next round for England. We were probably going to end up playing Italy, and maybe we've got a player signed, or maybe we've got players sold. But have a lovely day. I'm out of here. Bye.
Just hold me tight, no words I needed.